If you're shopping for a liveaboard trawler, this question will come up fast. Flybridge or Pilothouse? On paper, both look great. One gives you big views and open-air cruising. The other gives you protection, comfort, and a more inside driving experience. But once you're actually living aboard, the decision hits differently. It's not about what looks good at the dock. It's about where you'll be standing at the helm when it's raining, blowing 20 knots, or you're tired after a long run. In this video, we're breaking down the real-world differences between Flybridge and Pilothouse layouts, especially from a liveaboard perspective. Not brochure talk, just practical stuff that matters when this boat is your home. This is the part most buyers gloss over when they are standing at a boat show on a perfect 75-degree day. Ask yourself one honest question. Where will you realistically be running this boat most of the time? If you're cruising the Pacific Northwest, Northern Europe, or anywhere that sees real rain and cold months, an enclosed Pilothouse starts making a whole lot of sense. Being able to sit inside, dry and warm with heat running and clear sight lines forward changes the entire experience of a long passage. It's not just about comfort, it's about stamina. On a 4 or 5 hour run in steady drizzle, standing on a Flybridge under canvas with wind pushing through the enclosure gets old fast. Visibility through isinglass can be mediocre, zippers fail, panels flap. Eventually you find yourself wishing you were inside. Now, if you're in Florida, the Med, or cruising mostly in settled summer weather, the Flybridge shines. Elevated visibility is hard to beat. You can spot crab pots, traffic, and channel markers easier from up high. There's also something undeniably enjoyable about feeling the breeze and having that wide open view. But here's the catch. Weather changes. Even in warm climates, you'll hit squalls, strong sun, and unexpected wind. When that happens, do you have a lower helm? Many Flybridge trawlers include one, but some don't. And if the lower helm feels like an afterthought with poor visibility, you'll still default to running up top. A Pilothouse layout is built around the idea that you'll actually use that enclosed helm as your primary command center. The seating is better, electronics are often better integrated, and sightlines are designed for real navigation, not backup duty. There's also nighttime running to think about. Reflections from salon lights can interfere with lower helm visibility on some boats, while a properly designed Pilothouse minimizes that issue. On a Flybridge, running at night exposes you to cold air and glare from surrounding lights, which can be tiring over time. The truth is simple. Most liveaboards don't cruise only in postcard conditions. They move when they need to move. If you plan to travel seasonally or cover real distance, consider where you'll want to stand when the forecast isn't ideal. Your climate and cruising style should drive this decision. If you'll spend 70% of your time wishing you were inside, that's your answer. If you live for open-air visibility and sunshine runs, the Flybridge may win. Be honest about your waters, not your daydreams. Once the boat becomes your home, layout matters more than almost anything else. A Pilothouse often feels like an extension of the living space. It's typically on the same level as the salon or just a few steps up, and it can double as an office, reading area, or watch station at anchor. When you're not underway, that helm space doesn't go to waste. It becomes part of daily life. Because it's enclosed, it's easier to heat in winter and cool in summer. Climate control is simpler. You're not relying on canvas and snap-on panels to keep the elements out. That makes the interior feel cohesive instead of split between inside and outside zones. Flybridge boats, on the other hand, often feel more open overall. The salon can be slightly larger because the primary helm is upstairs. You gain a full upper deck that works as a social area, dining space, or quiet retreat. On nice days, it's like having a second living room. The trade-off shows up when weather limits how often you use that upper space. If the Flybridge sits empty for months because it's too hot, too cold, or constantly wet, then you're effectively carrying square footage you rarely enjoy. Stair access also matters. Climbing up and down multiple times a day isn't a big deal at first. Over years of liveaboard life, it can feel less convenient, especially if you're carrying tools, drinks, or gear. Another factor is noise. On many Pilothouse trawlers, the helm sits closer to the engine room. Depending on insulation, that can mean more engine noise while underway. Flybridge helms place you physically farther from the engine, which can feel quieter and more relaxed, especially at displacement speeds. Storage layout can differ too. Some Pilothouse designs sacrifice upper deck space for interior volume. Flybridge boats may offer larger lazarettes or deck lockers because of how weight and structure are distributed. Think about how you spend a typical day. Where will you drink your morning coffee? Where will you sit during a rainy afternoon? Where will guests gather? The best layout is the one that supports your routine, not just your cruising days. When a boat is your home, usable space beats theoretical space every time. Most liveaboards aren't running with a full crew. It's usually you and your spouse, or maybe one buddy aboard. That means docking and close quarters maneuvering need to be realistic for 2 people, not a team of 4. From a pure visibility standpoint, a Flybridge has a clear advantage. Being up high lets you see over the bow, down the sides, and into tight fairways more easily. Spotting pilings, judging distance, and watching your stern swing all feel more natural from that elevated position. In crowded marinas, that extra perspective can reduce stress. The downside shows up the moment you need to move. If you're running solo or short-handed, you're climbing down from the Flybridge to grab lines. That ladder can feel a lot steeper when the wind is pushing you sideways and the boat isn't perfectly settled yet. You need a clear plan before you commit to leaving the helm. Pilothouse setups keep you on the same level as side decks in many designs. That makes transitions quicker. Step out the side door, grab a line, and you're already where you need to be. For couples especially, this layout can feel more practical because communication is easier and movement is faster. Visibility from a lower helm depends heavily on design. Some boats offer excellent sight lines with large windows and minimal blind spots. Others have thick window frames and limited views of the stern. If you can't see your aft quarter, docking gets more complicated fast. Thrusters change the game for both layouts. Bow and stern thrusters reduce reliance on visual perfection because you can make small corrections easily. Still, you need to see what you're correcting. That's why layout and window placement matter so much. Weather also plays a role. Docking from a Flybridge in heavy rain or strong wind can be uncomfortable. Clear panels distort vision. Wipers are rare up top. In a Pilothouse, you're dry, often with wipers and better defrost capability. Think about your typical scenario. Are you confident climbing quickly and moving between levels? Do you plan to dock mostly in fair weather, or will you be handling lines in crosswinds and tight marinas? The easiest boat to dock is the one that matches your physical comfort and your handling skills. Elevated views help, but quick access to lines and solid communication might matter more over time. Ownership is where layout differences start affecting your wallet. A Flybridge usually means canvas, clear panels, zippers, snaps, and framing. Those enclosures don't last forever. Sun, salt, and wind take their toll. Replacing a full Flybridge enclosure can cost real money, and maintaining it requires regular cleaning and care to prevent clouding and cracking. Electronics mounted on an exposed Flybridge also face more wear. Even with covers, UV and moisture shorten the lifespan of screens and wiring. Over years of liveaboard use, that exposure adds up. Pilothouse boats shift more systems indoors. Helm electronics are protected. Seating isn't baking in the sun daily. Fewer exterior soft goods means fewer replacement cycles. From a pure durability standpoint, enclosed spaces generally age better. However, Pilothouse designs sometimes carry more glass. Large forward windows can be expensive to replace if damaged. They also require maintenance to prevent leaks around seals and frames. Nothing on a boat is truly maintenance-free. Heating and cooling costs differ as well. A fully enclosed Pilothouse is easier to climate control efficiently. A Flybridge that you want usable year-round often leads to added heaters, upgraded canvas, or even hardtop retrofits. Weight and structural complexity can influence long-term upkeep too. A Flybridge adds height and windage, which can slightly increase stress on certain components over time. It also adds railings, ladders, and deck fittings that require attention. From a resale standpoint, well-maintained enclosures and protected electronics help value. Neglected canvas or sun-damaged components hurt it quickly. The bigger picture is this: a Flybridge tends to involve more exterior upkeep. A Pilothouse concentrates systems inside but may demand attention to window integrity and interior finishes. Neither option is cheap to own. The question is where you'd rather spend your maintenance time and money: preserving exposed materials up top or maintaining enclosed systems below. When you're living aboard long-term, those recurring costs and effort levels matter more than most buyers expect. At some point, almost every liveaboard sells. Plans change, health changes, priorities shift. So even if you're buying with the idea of keeping the boat long-term, resale value still matters. The short answer is this: demand depends heavily on region. In warmer climates like Florida, Southern California, or much of the Mediterranean, Flybridge trawlers tend to attract more buyers. People love the open-air helm. the social space up top, and the panoramic views. When buyers step aboard on a sunny day, that elevated platform sells the dream quickly. Boats that show well and have clean, updated enclosures often move faster in those markets. In cooler, wetter regions like the Pacific Northwest, the UK, or Northern Europe, Pilothouse designs often hold strong appeal. Buyers in those areas prioritize protection from the elements and year-round usability. A well-designed enclosed helm can be a major selling point because it fits how people actually cruise in those climates. Condition, though, overrides layout more than anything. A neglected flybridge with cloudy panels, worn canvas, and sun-damaged electronics will turn buyers away fast. Likewise, a Pilothouse with leaking windows or dated systems won't command top dollar just because it's enclosed. There's also a perception factor. Pilothouse trawlers are sometimes viewed as more serious cruising boats. That can attract buyers planning longer passages or seasonal migrations. Flybridge models often appeal to a broader audience, including those who use the boat more for weekend cruising and entertaining. Inventory levels influence value too. If there are many similar flybridge boats on the market, pricing becomes competitive. A well-kept Pilothouse in a region where they're less common might stand out and command attention. Another factor is versatility. Boats that offer both a proper lower helm and a usable flybridge can attract the widest range of buyers. Dual-station setups give flexibility, which tends to support resale. Ultimately, resale strength comes down to three things: regional demand, overall condition, and realistic pricing. Layout plays a role, but it's not the only driver. If you're thinking ahead, buy the configuration that suits your cruising grounds and maintain it meticulously. A clean, well-cared-for trawler with documented upkeep will always outperform a neglected one, no matter where the helm is located. The best value strategy isn't chasing trends. It's choosing the layout that fits your waters and taking care of it like you plan to keep it forever. That's what future buyers notice. So, which one is better for a liveaboard trawler, flybridge, or Pilothouse? The honest answer is it depends on how and where you're going to live on that boat. Not where you picture yourself cruising on a perfect July afternoon, but where you'll actually be running in the rain, the heat, the wind, and the long in-between days. If you value open air, big visibility, and social space, a flybridge might feel right. If you want protection, year-round usability, and a helm that feels like part of your home, a Pilothouse could be the smarter move. There's no perfect layout. There's only the one that matches your waters, your routine, and your tolerance for maintenance and weather. If you've lived aboard either setup, drop your experience in the comments. Real-world feedback helps a lot more than brochure specs, and if you're still shopping, take your time. This decision shapes every day you spend on that boat.